Hi everyone and welcome back. In Romans 12 verse 1, Paul writes and he says, I beseech you, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present yourselves a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. This whole aspect of sacrifice goes all the way back to the Old Testament. In fact, in Genesis chapter 8, after Noah was delivered from the ark and was now on dry ground, in order to rejoice and to give thanks to the Lord, he made a sacrifice. He built an altar and made a sacrifice unto the Lord. And the Bible tells us that the aroma of that sacrifice was pleasing to the Father. So that's the desire that God has for each and every one of us as believers, is that we live a life that is pleasing unto Him. And therefore, it has to be a life that is on the altar of sacrifice. Interestingly, when Joshua went into the promised land, we see that wherever he had a victory, he made a sacrifice to give thanks to the Lord as a memory, as a sign of rejoicing in the conquest that God had given him. Unfortunately, as time progressed, we see that the people of Israel, they backslid from God, and those altars became derelict and fell into disrepair. So in 1 Kings chapter 18, when Elijah stands on Mount Carmel and has that great revival amongst the people of Israel, one of the first things that he does after that is to see that the altars are restored. In other words, bringing the people of Israel back to that sacrificial life. Now you see, there's two aspects that we need to understand in New Testament reality in our lives. The first is the sacrificial life is when we're putting our life in the hands of God. In other words, our plans and our purposes and our decisions, our ambitions and so on, these things are going up in smoke. They have no value to us anymore because our life is in the hands of the Lord. And that's an amazing place of safety and refuge. There are many Christians who struggle because they have their life in their hands. They are living the consequence of their decisions and their choices. But God is looking for a sacrificial life where my life is on the altar for Him. The second aspect is it tells us that it was pleasing. The aroma of that sacrifice was pleasing to God. So I'm not doing this begrudgingly. I'm not doing this out of necessity. I'm not doing this because there's no other way. No, I'm doing this because I love the Lord and I want to put my life in a place where I can trust Him and lean on Him for everything in all things. That's the aroma of my heart towards Him. And that's what God is looking for. So let's live on the altar for God. God bless.